Bueno, ahora en español, por favor, Tio Mauricio requested, and I had to do an impromptu translation of my prayer in Spanish that ended with a resounding Amen and a roar of Feliz Thanksgiving, que viva Cuba, from the family. Nothing like the dittos. And so, the moment of truth was at hand, or rather, at mouth, as everyone began eating. Not even a minute later, Mama asked, "What's this with canela y merengue on top? So sweet. Are you sure this isn't dessert?" Abuela instantly responded to her spurn. "They are llames, just like yuca, but orange and sweet. That's all. Just eat." "Ay, Dios mío, orange yuca. What about blue beans?" Mama laughed, and the rest of the family joined in. "They are not like yuca. They are like boniato. It's what they ate on the first Thanksgiving," I explained. "Really? They had marshmallows that long ago?" Mama quipped. She saw my face crumple. "What else do you know about Thanksgiving, mijo?" she asked me, changing her tone and taking an interest. I went on for a few minutes, telling the tale of the Pilgrims and Indians in Spanish so that everyone could understand. But soon the conversation changed to Tia Mirta's black beans. "You make the best frijoles in all Miami," Papa complimented her, and everyone agreed as they poured ladlefuls of black beans over their mashed potatoes like it was gravy. Nothing like the dittos. "What's this baba roja for?" Abuelo asked me, holding a dish with a log of cranberry jelly. I was embarrassed to admit that I hadn't figured out what it was for. "Well, it must be for el pan," Abuelo assumed, and he began spreading cranberry jelly on his slice of Cuban bread, already buttered. "Oh, sí, sí!" Everyone responded to the solved mystery and followed suit. It was the thing they all seemed to enjoy the most, beside the roasted pork, of course, which Tio Berto couldn't stop praising as perfectly seasoned and perfectly tender. He spooned the bottom of the roasting pan and poured pork fat drippings over the lean slices of turkey on his plate. "Ahora sí, much better. Not so dry," he proclaimed after a taste, and then proceeded to drench the platter of carved turkey with ladles of pork fat swimming with sautéed onions and bits of garlic. Nothing like the dittos, but at least after that, everyone had seconds of the turkey. After dessert, Abuela made 3 rounds of Cuban coffee. Papa turned on the stereo system and put in Hoy Como Ayer, his favorite 8-track tape with 8 billion songs from their days in Cuba. The crescendo began, and Minervino took his butter knife and tapped out a matching beat on his soda can. Before you could say Happy Thanksgiving, there was a conga line 20 Cubans long, circling the domino players around the Florida sunroom. When the conga finished, the line broke up into couples dancing, while I sat sulking on the sofa. You can't teach old Cubans new tricks, I thought, watching the shuffle of their feet. There seemed to be no order to their steps, no discernible pattern to the chaos of their swaying hips and jutting shoulders. And yet, there was something absolutely perfect and complete, even beautiful, about them, dancing as easily as they could talk, walk, breathe. As I began picking up the rhythm, Abuela dashed into the room, twirling a dishcloth above her head, demanding, "Silencio, silencio, por favor!" Papa turned down the music, and the crowd froze, waiting for her next words. "Tio Rigoberto just called. He said he heard from Ramoncito that my sister Ileana got out with the whole familia," she announced, her voice cracking as she wiped her eyes with the dishcloth, and continued, "They're in España, waiting to get las visas. In a month, más o menos, they will be here. ¡Qué emoción!" She didn't need to explain much more. It was a journey they all knew, had all taken just a few years before. a journey I didn't know, having arrived in America when I was only 45 days old. But over the years, I had heard the stories they always told in low voices, with teary eyes, reliving the plane lifting above the streets, the palm trees, the rooftops of their homes and country they might never see again, flying to some part of the world they'd never seen before. One suitcase, packed mostly with photographs and keepsakes, no more than a few dollars in their pocket, and a whole lot of esperanza. That's what the Pilgrims must have felt like, more or less, I imagined. They had left England in search of a new life, too, full of hope and courage, a scary journey ahead of them. Maybe my family didn't know anything about turkey or yams or pumpkin pie, but they were a lot more like the Pilgrims than I had realized. The next morning, Abuela made toaster treats and café con leche, but didn't eat, complaining she had had stomach cramps all night long. She said Abuela was still in bed, nauseated. Mama admitted she threw up before going to sleep, but thought it was the strange stuffing in a box. I had diarrhea, I confessed, as did Papa. Caco claimed he was fine. None of us knew what to make of our upset stomachs until Tia Esmeralda called. She told Abuela she had been throwing up all night and was only then beginning to feel like herself again. She blamed it on those strange llames. Then Tio Regino called and said he'd had to take a dose of his mother's elixir peragurico, which cured anything and everything. He blamed it on the flan, thinking he remembered it tasting a little sour. The phone rang all day long, with relatives complaining about their ailments and offering explanations. Some, like Tia Mirta, blamed the cranberry jelly. Others blamed the black beans or the yuca that was too garlicky. And some, like me, dared to blame it on the pork. But surprisingly, no one, not even Abuela, blamed the turkey. In 1968, Richard Blanco was born into a family of Cuban exiles in Spain. Shortly after he was born, the family emigrated to the United States, where they settled in Miami, Florida. While Blanco was passionately creative growing up, he was also excellent at math and science, leading him to become a civil engineer. However, his creativity was not forgotten, and he went on to lead a double life, pursuing writing alongside his civil engineering career. His dedication was met with wide success, including the honor of being chosen to read his poetry at Barack Obama's second presidential inauguration.